I am Feel It.
And I am Fix It. And we talk about life.
And stuff and things.
With the occasional rant.
Which you will have no problem doing.
Hello. Hello there. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good night. Whatever it is, wherever you are, hope you're having a good one.
Yes. Agreed. Absolutely.
So in our last episode, we were talking about the fact that May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Just diving right in.
Yeah. So
All right.
I figure we're gonna continue with that today.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Exactly where that's going, I can't tell you. Other than we are shining examples of mental health in action.
Right. Well, there's a t-shirt that I had a sweatshirt that says it, but I bought the t-shirt that says perfectly imperfect. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay.
Well, yeah, health is not a point, it's a spectrum.
Wow. So true, though.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
And it's the sane ones you gotta worry about.
Well,
yeah, they're full of crap.
That's subjective anyway.
Exactly. They're full of crap.
If you hear any munching, Fix It over there is chomping on some peanut brittle popcorn from Horrocks.
Yep.
The gourmet, handmade popcorn.
It is excellent.
He loves
excellent.
it.
It's a little pricey, but it's really good.
Yes.
It's very good.
Yes. Horrocks, not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Which we just keep forgetting are not a sponsors. It's
okay. It's
supposed
mostly,
to be funny.
It's mostly a gag. So
and
it's not
just,
like,
we had a rhythm and then we didn't, and now it's just whatever. When we think of it, we do it. But, okay, we did talk about how May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I said it would be nice if we talked about that. It's also Lyme Awareness Month, if that matters to anybody, and they happen to be questions, and I'll talk about my journey a little bit of chronic Lyme disease. And now, of course, with my new diagnosis of MCAS, which is mast cell activation syndrome. Again, another chicken and egg concept. Did the mast cell, which I was likely born with, make me more susceptible to the chronic Lyme, or the chronic Lyme create or the triggers that then led to the mast cell activation? I don't know. Or are they just running parallel? Whatever. They are. They exist. I have lab proof, like scientific evidence of the Lyme. And then the MCAS there isn't a test. It is a diagnostic. And
you have enough markers to go,
like
that's what you got.
Like they look at different aspects of health history. But yes, a lot of tests were run to show whether or not I had different criteria. So.
Yes.
So.
Well, at this point, which came first is basically academic.
I don't care.
It'd be nice to know, but it doesn't change anything.
I just know that my daily life is affected. I feel better than I did in that journey. But of course, it has had its mental health toll, not just in the management of the conditions, but the stigma, the struggle, the financial toll, the wondering what would ever come of my life. Would I ever be able to have a life? And now that I do, the management to keep that and still be well and not stress and worry and wonder what the next thing is that's going to go wrong. But that's part of chronic illness.
Yeah.
So
that's always that's the part that drives you batty.
So I've accepted more, I think, more than I used to.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it does. That'll get you harder than anything. So in the theme of the mental health awareness, and we were just talking about what to talk about. I would like to talk about Alzheimer's at some point. As I said, I would months ago after my uncle had passed. That's been kind of floating around in my mind. I'd like to do a little bit more. That'd probably be more of a structured episode because there's certain things I would want to talk about specifically. But I thought since we're just kind of putting this together,
You're going to script? Oh my
sort
gosh.
of.
Oh my gosh.
More of the things I would want to make sure I touched on.
I tend to riff more.
Not so much the script on what exactly I would say, just the certain
bullet points.
the
So make
certain
sure you
things
cover
I would
them,
want
yeah.
to make sure I'd mention.
Yeah.
And I remember when we started this, I said I didn't want it to necessarily be like a professional forum, but I realized I couldn't segregate it.
No.
So I am a therapist. I speak therapistese, but I am also a mother. I am also a wife. I am also a patient. But I'm also an advocate. I am all those things, and I can be all of those things. It's just
Sure.
one giant Venn diagram of a life.
Yeah, well, that's let's be honest.
It should be.
That's people.
I say it should be a healthy,
A healthy
balance as best you can of any one of those things.
the specializations for insects.
Say that again.
Specialization is for insects.
Insects. Okay.
Yes, bugs.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of insects out there that only do one thing. Just one. It's the only thing in the world that they do. I mean, it's like they only have one kind of food. They only this kind of plant. They only, and if you remove one thing in their chain, they disappear. People aren't insects. We don't specialize. Nobody is just. It's like I'm a maintenance mechanic, but I'm not just a maintenance mechanic. It's like It's like, do I specialize in that skill set? Sure, I specialize in that skill set, but I'm way more than that. I'm a husband and a father and a sound guy and a friend and a dog owner, and I cook and I build and I sew and I've quilted and I've crocheted and I've needlepoint and origami and I've designed houses and I've designed cars and I've done body work and I've done upholstery work and there's all of these things and I am all of those things. So
Or you do them.
yeah, well, sure. And she's back to licking her paw. Anyway.
There we go again.
But people aren't specialized like that. Now, we have certain things that we specialize in, but that's not all you are. You have to be more. You should be more. The whole idea is to be a well-rounded, functional human being. That means you don't specialize. The only thing this person is good for is yelling at doctors. Well, that's the only thing they're good for. They're kind of missing out on all of the other stuff in life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I say yelling at doctors, but it's like you need to be more than that. Otherwise, you're just shallow and with no depth. You're not that interesting. Yeah, you're the world's best, whatever. Oh, but that's all you got. I don't care how good you are at your job if your kids don't know who you are. And if your wife doesn't like you.
That's fair.
Then you failed.
Yep. Oh, there's that.
It's like, yeah, well, you're a huge success. No, you're not. No, you're not. You got really good at the part that didn't matter so much. That's specializing. It was like, you take that one thing away, then what are you? Nothing. You just die off and go extinct.
I do appreciate the insight on that. Yes.
I'm just saying.
No, it's okay. I'm with you. I'm with you.
I don't know. I think that's actually...
I'm starting to get tired, but it's not your fault. It's been a weird day.
It's been a weird day. Got up way too early, but that's okay. It happens. Well, and I think that's where some of the issues that people, the mental issues that people are dealing with, is they're specializing too much. It's like everything's out of balance. You're right. Everything's out of balance. You focused on your job or your relationship or this part of you or this part of you with it. And in the process, atrophy the rest of you, so you're out of balance. You're depressed because you're focusing on the part of your life that will never bring you out of depression. It's going to drag you further down that road. When you've got you got kids at home, don't have any idea who their dad really is. But all your coworkers know who you are. Those kids, I guarantee, even when they're being absolute pains in the butt, because, they're little kids. Little kids can be an absolute pain in the butt. There is nothing that can change your day than looking at that little person and going, that's my little person.
Aw.
Yeah.
You're having a sentimental moment.
Of course. We were just watching a chat with a friend and their little ones. It was like, man, they're really cute.
Oh, well, we was just say it's the mother of the children that we've discussed in this episode not that long ago. Our daughter's friend, best friend growing up. She sends us these videos, Marco Polos, every once in a while, and we get to see them.
And they're very cute. And they're just in those stages of life where it's like you're either really cute or driving you batty. There's no middle ground. But I think it's like, I think a lot of, there's always the talk of balance when you're talking about mental health. You got to find a balance. Well, people think it's a balance between work and life. It's like, no, you know what? Work should be you should never balance half your life work and half your life because the whole point of the work is for your family. Like if it's half and half, you're out of balance. But yeah, your time might be split fairly evenly. An 8 hour, like the stereotypical 8 hour shift.
Yeah.
8 hours at home and then 8 hours of sleep. Yeah, you know what? Your time is balanced in those three things. But your priorities should never be balanced across those three things. Or, home and work. If you're balancing your life between home and work as a matter of priority, this is what's important. No, it's like 10% job, 90% everything else. That's balanced. Because that 10%, it's like, if you leave your job...
That's what it means for you.
Well, I mean, if you leave your job, they'll replace you.
Oh, sure.
By the end of the week, they'll probably have somebody to fill your position.
Sure.
It's one of those, I don't believe that you replace people, but you do fill positions. If you aren't there for your family, there ain't nobody that can step in and be you.
That is correct.
Focus on where you're irreplaceable. No, but I don't care. People get split up, they get divorced and whatever. Nobody can become that kid's parent other than you. I mean, they might feel there'll always be the step parent. To you, there is no step. To you, that's your kid. So put your focus there. That's your wife. It's your wife. Make sure she's a priority. Make sure that she knows that she's a priority. Usually you do that by, becoming a better version of yourself so that the aggravations that unavoidably arise stay minor irritations. Work on yourself,
nice
get better. Focus on your people butt heads. It's like and the closer you are to somebody, the more if erosion works. You take something rough, you put it in a river, and over time it gets smoother. Well, it's because little bits of silt and sand running over it knock off the hard edges. And the closer those two things come together, the faster the more pronounced the small edges become. So nobody can drive you nuts faster than somebody that's really close to you. It's just,
that's a great way
your
to put
coworker, they can do stuff that's dumb and big stuff that's dumb, and it's not going to get under my skin. It's not personal because you're not in my personal space. So people that are in your personal space, that those tiny little, it's like, that nub's 90% gone. It's that last 10% that keeps bumping into me, and it'll drive you batty. The goal is to get is to work on yourself to where you've smoothed off those edges and that your partner has smoothed off their edges, and you understand that when you do bump into each other, it's not a big deal. Because we're going to figure it out.
At least it shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be. Well, I mean, if something's a big deal, deal with it.
So there's a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason. Deal with it. And some things that weren't a big deal, well, they always talk about improvement at work. It's a big thing. It's like 1% improvement, 1% improvement all the time. It's like you work on the low-hanging fruit. Well, eventually, all the big, easy things to fix are gone. So now it's just the big stuff. Well, I believe the other way around. Focus on the things that matter the most, not the things that are easiest to deal with. It's like, yeah, it's going to take a lot more work to deal with this, but if we deal with this, then all those little things don't matter anymore. I can live with a little, okay, yeah, you squeeze the toothpaste tube for the middle. I can live with that. Why would you want to deal with that first when there's crap that matters?
I can't help wonder if you're talking to me right now. Is there something you're trying to tell me?
Oh, no, that's a conversation we had a long time ago.
Yeah, it was.
That's why we have separate tubes of toothpaste.
I thought it was the kinds that we use.
Oh, right now we're using the exact same kind.
Huh.
Because every time I pick it up, I got to smooth it out. It's my little OCD no, it's like it's squeezed in the middle. I can't have that.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about
But like I said,
OCD
but
things.
it's like, but is that a big deal? No, that's not a big deal. Why would we focus energy on that? Why let that become a big deal? Because it doesn't need to be.
You're right. This is about where the energy goes.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, why would I get upset about that? And it's really easy to get upset about really stupid things. But it's like, you know what? That's something silly. I don't have any big stuff to worry about. All the big stuff is dealt with, and that's the worst thing I got to put up with? Or, cope with, or deal with, or overlook, or however you want to put it. I'm going to call myself blessed and get on with my day.
See, and that's perspective. That's a perspective shift.
Yes. It is, but it's also because we've figured out a lot of the big stuff.
Yes.
I mean, there's still stuff that's like, stuff. Life happens. There's still stuff. But we've figured out how to figure out most of it without too much drama. Which is the point. And again, that's why, you know what? I would rather be all messed up at work and come home and be good than have work squared away and come home to a mess. And I don't mean metaphorical mess. We have a dog and 2 kids that live with us, so a mess sometimes just happens.
It just depends.
Actually, not too. They're pretty good, but just saying.
Except for the youngest in the kitchen, but that's another
that's
story.
another thing. But you know what I mean. It's like, so it's like, yeah, you need good balance. You need good balance, and the only way you have good balance is by putting your priorities in the right place. And I think that's, like I was saying, I think that's where a lot of people's mental health issues are. Not all, but there's certain ones specifically that their brain is operating in a level of dysfunction because you've prioritized wrong. Now, you can't put things right if you're holding them incorrectly. And that disjunction between what you think should be and what actually is causes all kinds of contradiction.
Well put. Yeah.
What was that? There's a word for it. Driving me nuts. I hate that. It's a mental disconnect. It's
Dissonance? Cognitive
Thank you.
dissonance?
Cognitive dissonance. That is exactly the word I was looking for. Thank you. It's like there's what is actually a good balance and what you think is a good balance, and they don't match, and they don't match, and your brain goes trying to make sense of it all. Just saying. Anyway.
No,
there's my rant.
are you sure? I mean,
think so.
I don't know. There's some good stuff in there. Okay.
I can run with it.
I wasn't sure. I had an idea, but did you have something else you wanted to run with?
Nope. That would just kind of...
That just happened?
It just happened.
Like 20 minutes later, that just happened? However long it's been?
I've had longer.
You're right. Well, again, it doesn't mean
You
it's
should
not valuable.
when we're not recording, man. Holy crap!
I know you really go on sometimes. It doesn't mean it wasn't of value. I
No, I would
wasn't
like to think so.
Like,
And at the same time, it's like if I'm off base, because a lot of the stuff I say is my observation, what I think of certain things, my personal experience, or sometimes it's just me working out, trying to articulate or even arrange and come to a conclusion based on different information I've absorbed. So sometimes it's me working it out and I'm just saying it out loud, But if I'm off base or I'm off kilter, like I want feedback. It's but since a good chunk of the time you sit there and you nod and you're like, and I'm like, okay, all right, I must not be too far off of.
Yeah, they can't see me nod.
I know, but I can.
We're not a video podcast.
No.
No, you're not. You're not typically. If you are, I say something.
Yeah.
I had an idea.
Sure.
It just kind of came out, and I was like looking at prompts and things, and I thought, okay, what could be interesting at least? And I sent it to you just before we started this. Mm-hmm. The 5 C's of mental health are a framework to enhance well-being. They are connect, coping, control, confidence, and compassion. These elements are important for building resilience, managing stress, and improving overall mental health. This is, a version, like you see different outlets that'll bring it up in different ways for different reasons. But I thought, okay, well, this is something that we could talk about. Like maybe if you feel like there's some way you could connect better, cope differently, all of these elements is something you want to talk about.
There is
I'm
something.
Sure this could go a lot of different ways.
Oh, certainly.
There's a whole lot here.
I have no doubt.
But
that it most
it's
likely
a
will.
prompt.
Yeah. Well, and
again,
but there's
connection, coping, control, confidence, and compassion.
Sure.
Typically, yes, elements of those things are what are sought to be achieved, or there is some type of issue with in the imbalance, as you were talking about, in terms of mental health, and that can go in pretty much any category you can think of.
Yes.
When it comes to like substance use or addiction of any kind, emotional disturbance, those types of things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, okay, there's one thing about this that you sent me that's making my eye twitch a little, and I don't know if you noticed it.
Probably not.
But okay, it's 5 C's of mental health, and they have 6 items in the diagram.
I didn't open the diagram, but
and it's like
contribution, because the diagram. See, now I don't know if that diagram went to it or not, because I sent you. It was like like the Google summary just to show you the words. You know what? I don't believe that went to that particular source, but thank you for pointing that out.
It's just one of those, it's like, it's 5 C's, but there's 6 of them.
The diagram is not the same thing, honey.
Okay, it's
not the same
You sent
thing.
me a screenshot. I can only zoom in so far.
I did. I sent you a screenshot.
And that's okay. Well, and I can definitely, just on the...
Don't look at the diagram.
I can't help it. It's the whole top right corner.
Oh, my gosh.
It's there. What am I supposed to do with that?
OCD. Tism.
It's the tism. As I've said before, my brand of neurospicy, that's just one of those things that jump out at me.
I love that Autism Awareness Month which was April, and we should have talked about it, and I apologize I did not bring it up. That Autism Awareness Month is April, and it backs into May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. Okay. And just for the record, when I was looking at neurospicy t-shirts, our daughter said that you did not need one. I'm going to say our girls, but our daughter said you didn't need one.
Okay. Sure, okay. Admittedly, I have a lot of shirts I already don't wear.
You do need a lot. You do have a lot of t-shirts.
I do have a lot of t-shirts I already don't wear. Heck, I'm wearing a t-shirt that work gave me. Not because it's a work shirt, but because they use really high quality cotton in their t-shirts. They buy good ones. They're nice. Anyway,
so,
but And I mean, I was looking at this real quick before it's like, yeah, okay, you know what? I don't know about confidence. I don't know how they're using that terminology, because they were probably going for a C word that fit the bill.
Well,
because
have
it stopped
confidence
for me.
in oneself.
But for me, it's like it stops at coping.
Self-esteem.
Sure, but yeah.
These are
And again,
generalities.
I'm not saying they don't work. I'm just
Connecting with people, coping with issues, controlling emotions, confidence with oneself, compassion with oneself or others.
Honestly, I think a good chunk of it, well, like when it comes to compassion, I think a good chunk of it comes your mental peace comes from having compassion with other people in a lot of cases.
It does. It does have to come down to some grace, having grace with people to achieve inner peace, grace with oneself.
It's all too often to get very self-centered, and with the idea of like, well, these people are doing this to me, and it's very egocentric. Like, people aren't against you; they're for themselves. They didn't cut you off because they cut you off.
It's difficult sometimes to
most
see
definitely.
it that way.
Most definitely.
On what you've been through.
I definitely do not disagree that it is hard to do that. I have to be very conscious of that often. It's like I need to stop thinking about that bozo. Like, he's a bozo. He didn't know, wasn't aware, wasn't thinking beyond the end of his own nose. It wasn't against me. It was for themselves. And you can let go of a lot of negative feelings that'll mess up your day by doing that. I'm having a really bad day because this person did this. It's like, no, that person did something. You emotionally responded to it, and now you're not letting it go. And you're not letting it go is ruining your day.
That's fair.
I mean, sometimes bad days happen. I mean, sometimes things just keep going sideways. It happens. But it gets worse if you think of it like this whole, this world is against me and all this crap is, it's like, no, other things in the world are just, they're for themselves. They're not against you. You just happen to be there. It wasn't personal. It's not against you. You can let it go. Would it be nice if people opened their eyes and thought about other people? Sure.
Of course.
But that has to start with you. You got to take, you can own you can't control what other people do, but you can control how you respond to it. And you can control how you respond and how you respond. Just because you got pissed off, which I do often, you don't signal and crank in front of me. While I'm doing 70 miles an hour. It puts me I get angry. Very quickly, I get angry. And then I got to check myself. It's like, that's not doing me any good. Obviously, this person missed their turn and they need that exit. Okay, all right.
Talk a lot about the driving.
Well, that's where it really comes out for me. Wow. As you are very well aware.
I am.
But it's it starts with intentionally changing your mindset. It's like, okay, I got mad. I don't need to be mad. It wasn't against me. They have places they need to be. Let it go. Don't let their myopic vision control my day. Don't let somebody that didn't realize I was there or didn't care that I was there be the person that ruins my day. I'm the guy that can allow him to ruin my day, and I'm not going to let that happen.
That is true.
And I think that kind of flies into the control thing, too. It's like, you can't control.
That's the hardest thing anybody struggles with.
In all honesty, you don't control squat. Not really. If you really think, it's like you have, how's that old joke go? If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can lay out what it is that you intend to do, but you have no control on whether or not that's actually going to happen. Well, I'm going to do laundry. Then the power goes out. Okay, I'm not doing laundry. Okay. Okay, I come home and I fire up the generator and we can do laundry. But you know what I mean? It's like, there are so many things that you have absolutely no input on. Like, okay, I'm going to go I got a doctor's appointment. You go to the doctor's appointment, you sit there for an hour and a half, and then they send you home because the doctor was busy in an emergency case. You had no control over that. None whatsoever. You can control what you can control, but what actually happens, you got no control over. And when you accept that as reality,
it gets better.
You can be annoyed. Okay, I had that appointment. I sat there for an hour and a half, and we got nothing out of the equation. That sucks. That's annoying. That shouldn't happen. But at the same time, at least I'm not the emergency, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those.
Sure.
It's very easy to get caught up in well, this didn't go the way I wanted it to. Well, guess what? You're lucky you got close.
That's most of life.
That's most of life. That is life. You can set an alarm and you can, make your plans and plan your routes. And then there's a car accident. You're halfway down the road and there's a car accident. Happened 10 minutes before you got there and the road's closed. So now instead of being 10 minutes early, you're going to be 3 hours late. You have no control. And it's frustrating and it's aggravating. And then you have to take a deep breath and go, I didn't have control over this anyway. I'm just kind of here. Life happens. That isn't to say don't plan anything. You have to plan. But you also have to be part of that plan is crap's going to go sideways. In some manner, crap's going to go sideways. Because
so you and I believe in a higher power.
We do.
We believe in God.
Yes.
Not everyone does.
True.
But it is indisputable that we do not control.
No. Well,
regardless of who you believe does.
Yeah. Well,
you do not.
Because it's May and May 4th is National Star Wars Day, or International Star Wars Day, however you want to do it, I am going to quote episode 4.
Oh my goodness.
The tighter you hold on to them, the faster they'll slip through your fingers. The more you try to control a situation, the more likely it is to go sideways in a way that you don't want.
Which one was Strike Me Down and I'll Come More Powerful Than You Can Possibly Imagine?
That would also be episode 4.
Okay. Was it?
Yep. A New Hope, which was originally just Star Wars. The New Hope was added later. Just saying. Anyway, but yes, it was the same one. Just before they escaped the Death Star.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Obi-Wan.
Yes. Sir Alec Guinness. But that's one of those, you're a much more planned, scheduled, regulated kind of individual. For me, a fully planned afternoon is, I'm meeting up with this person, we're going to get something to eat. When? I don't know. Where? I don't know. We'll figure it out. That's as much planning as I need.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're not that person.
Not that person.
Now, not that you haven't been there and done that. I mean, when we went up to Traverse City that one night, we was like, screw it, let's just find a hotel. Done. And we hang out by the freaking water. And then we ended up switching to we stopped at the one hotel, they didn't have a room, but the one up the road does, so here you go. And it was a gorgeous night.
Because they were owned by the same
Yeah, they're owned by the same place. So, but, I mean, not that you are incapable and
See,
don't enjoy the occasional.
Can be spontaneous.
Yeah, the spontaneity.
We talked about complete spontaneity for our anniversary this year.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we completely get, I guess, but because even then you have a rough plan. We're going to get in the car and we're going to go do this, and like, okay.
Well,
which and I'm not complaining. I'm not saying
no. It was I can take Friday and I can take Monday. If you want to do something,
let's go. Yep, let's go do something. Which cool.
Yeah,
you know,
plan spontaneity, so to speak.
Sure, give yourself the room to just
go.
But see, we've had situations where it's like, okay, we got all these plans and this is what's going on, and then something happened and derailed it, and you can't derail a portion of the plan. And now everything is now shifted, and then it becomes a problem. You know, like I don't know. I have become very okay with things getting out of control. I let go of control because I realize I don't control squat. I influence what I can influence. I plan on what I can plan. And whether it actually happens or not isn't always something that I have any input on.
I have a very scheduled life now.
Yes, you do. Well, and you have people who are scheduling their life around your schedule.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of hand-holding there. But how many times, like, well, I can't, how many calls have you gotten, like, oh, I got to cancel because I can't make it?
Oh, quite a few.
It's not like they didn't know for
not
weeks.
A lot, I mean,
but you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
And then now your schedule's all messed up because their schedule got messed up.
Sure.
It's like, there's that cascading aspect to it. It's like, I'm mostly okay with controlling what I can control, which is a pretty small amount of what actually is out there. And I'm okay with what happens as a result. This is what I'm intending to do, and this is how I'm planning on doing it. And then, okay, see how it goes.
You seem pretty honed in on the control one.
Sure. Well, that's just because it was right there in that step.
That might be very telling.
Nah. Well, I mean, I think part of it is my mindset. Part of it is my personality.
Controlling isn't a word I'd use for you.
No. I think part of it's the mechanic side of me, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Like I did a ball joint in my car a little while ago. Which I actually got to do a little follow-up work on that, but that's neither here nor there. I spent a good chunk of time getting prepped and ready and starting the work, and like, okay, if everything goes smoothly, this is a 2-hour job. Like, okay, so I'm prepped and ready to do a 2-hour job. And then I got into it, and the bolt snapped, and I'm like, okay, this 2-hour job just turned into, this is coming to work, and I'm breaking out the big tools. And I'm like, okay, well, it's like I can get mad about it, or I can just roll with it, because once you don't know what's going to happen once things get started. It's like trying to plan a 2-year-old's birthday party. It's like, no, that's chaos. You're going to have a cake, and you're going to have family there. Other than that, it's a mess. And if you try and do anything beyond that, you're going to rip your hair out it's like, herding cats. You can't do it. Don't bother trying. You're just going to drive yourself batty in the attempt. But you can learn to, again, there's going to be cake. There's going to be family. There's going to be little kids. There's going to be mess. I accept all of that, and whatever happens, happens. There's going to be somebody getting splashed in the face. There's going to be cake all over the dang place. And somebody's going to have to mop.
Do I wish I had more of that mindset 10, 15, 20 years ago? Sure.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I've always been...
It's taken a whole lot of life slapping me around to get there. But yeah.
I've been there a long time. I mean, even my time in the military, there was no point in me planning anything.
That's true.
It was...
You've been there differently.
This is the schedule. This is what we're doing. And if that changes, I'll tell you. I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
Well, you have admitted on this podcast before that I am your enabler.
To a degree, yes.
You don't really have to think a whole lot because of me. Most of your life is pretty much just set up. You go to work, you come home, but all the appointments, all the things.
Well, I mean...
all the bills.
I don't have a lot of appointments for me, so that, there's that. And throw it in the calendar.
Kids.
I hear about it. And now they're
I
old
always
enough. I
dealt
don't.
with the kids.
I don't have to. Yeah, a good chunk of it. Yep. I did a lot of the driving, but yeah, no. I mean, yes. Part of that also, my neurospicy, is if I don't have it, things disappear. If it's not right in front of me, it disappears very quickly. Like the whole object permanence. It's not just. It's times, dates, locations, people. If it's not in front of me, it disappears. It doesn't exist. So yes, you've allowed me to focus in on what I need to take care of.
You're welcome.
So, I put a lot of money in the bank. So I work a lot.
And we're talking about control still.
No, yes.
So, I mean,
Sure.
Was there anything else that resonated with you, or was it mainly control?
Well, no, I'm just kind of going through the list here. Like, we covered compassion. That was control. And I will honestly say, I think there's a lot of research that I've read. Again, I didn't do the research. I read some of the studies and some of the synopses and listened to some TED Talks and some people in interviews compiling this bit of information that is now jumbled into my own version of it in my head. Connection is actually, there's the opposite of connection is often addiction. You need to feel connected and locked into something. It should be people and, specifically close relationships, close family relationships, close friend relationships. And if you don't have that, there's something very soothing and sheltering and protective of those relationships. Even when they're somewhat, like a lot of times with guys, the closer friends are very adversarial because they're always in competition doing things. But it's in that adversarial relationship that we bond and become closer. So you still have that connection. But people that don't have that connection need that shelter and that feeling of closeness and that feeling of protection and safety. And if you don't have it from people can find that protection in a disconnect through chemical usage. Alcohol, cannabis, hard drugs, gambling. You get that feeling of acceptance, that feeling of protection, even if it's fake. There was a study. They've done a lot of studies with rats. And they did the one study, they put a rat in a cage, and they had 2 bottles of water, one with regular water and one with drug-laced water. And this study showed that the rats would consistently choose the drug-laced water to the point where they die of an overdose in very short order. And then somebody stepped back and it's like, okay, well, this experiment, you've got this rat completely isolated. There's nothing for him to do. It's just a small little cage with a rat in it and drugs. And they doused themselves to death. Then they redid the experiment, but they did a huge cage with all kinds of, basically playground equipment and toys and balls, and then other rats. And they put that same 2 bottles of straight water and then drug-laced water, and the overdose rate for the rats went to 0. Like, when that rat was alone, drugged himself to not feel alone. Now, admittedly, people are different than rats.
Sort of.
But physiologically, neurologically, in many aspects, it's the same kind of thing. It's like you're not going to find an addict. At least I've never met an addict that truly felt close and connected to somebody.
That's part of the void that they're trying to fill.
Exactly. It's like that connection, that it needs to be more than just a superficial, that's my buddy over there, we watch the game together. No, we're talking about the in the trenches kind of buddy that person that you can actually feel safe in letting your guard down. You know, it's like you have that person in your life. The chances of you becoming so lonely that you need to numb yourself or pump yourself full of something to make you not feel alone or safe or sheltered, it becomes so much less. Not saying it doesn't exist. I've never met the person. Not really. Everyone I've known was trying to avoid something. And they never,
That's a
and they
fair
didn't,
statement.
and they didn't share that with the people around them. They strove so other people didn't feel like that, but they never let anybody become that person for them. Just, you know.
It's okay.
No,
I had to put something in that cart while I was thinking of it.
Gotcha. I was curious if it was, I didn't know if it was what you were looking at was apropos to the conversation.
At first it was, and then I found that thing, and then I was like, oh yeah, I need to put that in the cart. See,
okay.
I just multitasked as the empty tape dispenser sitting next to me. Or nearly empty.
Okay.
So I'm hearing you.
Okay.
I was with you. Addiction, loneliness, connection. Yes.
And that was the one talk I heard regarding that same kind of study was, it's like, we've been thinking about addiction wrong. The opposite of addiction isn't sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. I thought that was a beautiful way to summarize that idea.
Very true. As most individuals will give up one thing and trade it for another. So, for instance, they might give up cocaine, but start smoking cigarettes, nicotine.
Sure.
They might give up alcohol, but start eating.
Well, I think that,
eating more. There's typically some type of replacement.
Sure, but I mean, it's to truly beat addiction, and I think where like Al-Anon, Narcanon stuff, groups like that. If you take any of the political or anything in the background of that away, one of the things they strive for is that you're part of a community. It's not just you. You don't have to do this alone. You've got and the people and the people that
have
actually
a sponsor.
Yeah, have a sponsor, and the people that succeed in those programs found somebody that they could truly connect with. They became more than just fellow alcoholics or fellow addicts, and they became friends. Close friends. So like, the old, cliche, you're not my friend, you're family.
Mm-hmm. When
they develop that relationship, those are the ones that succeed in the programs. Like they beat their addiction, or at least, yeah. It's one of those conversations / debates about addiction. Once an addict, always an addict. It's like, it's one of those, it's a conversation. Anyway, I'm not in their shoes, so I'm not going to argue, can't argue it. But it's a conversation I'd love to have with somebody one of these days. But the ones that actually successfully beat their addiction to submission are the ones that truly connect with somebody. And the more people they connect with, the higher their rate of success becomes. And part of it is, I got your back, I'm not going to let you slip. But it's, now I have that, the connection, the safety, the warmth, or whatever thing that they were trying to cope with, they now found in another human being. So they don't need the addiction. I'm not saying in all cases.
It does make some sense. I'm certainly not a specialist in addiction recovery, but...
Well, and there's something to, there are people who, their addiction stems from, or they become physically addicted, not necessarily emotionally addicted. They become physically addicted due to other circumstances, and I'm not, not necessarily talking about that kind of addiction. Though physiologically it's the same and the damage can be the same, the root cause, I think, is very different. Anyway. That being what it, yeah, I'm good. Good.
It's okay. Did you get lost?
A little bit. My brain does that sometimes.
That's okay.
It's like an old, a car with a manual transmission. Every now and then it slips out of gear.
I understand.
I just heard some grinding and now I'm no
longer in third. I think I watched you. I think I watched it happen.
I'm good.
Do you have any thoughts on any other ones?
Just about to bring them back up.
Ah.
Phone goes to sleep and then I can't look at it. The confidence one is just, yeah. I mean, I think, there is... Confidence is a tricky one. As far as, there's a trying to articulate my thought process. There's confidence and then there's conceit. And the difference is confidence doesn't have an ego.
Okay.
And I know, when I use, you know me, I use work a lot as an example because I think most people can relate to having a job. If you're one of the lucky few that can't, I'm a little jealous. But I am very confident in the things that I know in regards to my job. And I'm confident enough in that knowledge to also confidently tell you I have no clue what that is or how to fix that. I'll take a look. I will research. I will dive deep. I don't know. There's no ego there. If I tell you, no, this is what's going to take care of it, it's not that I'm being egotistical about it. I've been here, done that enough times to say with a very high level of certainty that this is the issue.
This is the problem.
If I don't have that level of certainty, I'm going to say, I think it's this, but let's dig into it. There's something to be said for, I am confident in my relationship with my girls. I've spent a great deal of time making sure those girls know how special they are, how loved they are, how taken care of they are. It's like, there's no power on earth. It's like they're going to have, somebody wants to hurt you, they got to go through me to do it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they confidently know.
They are very confident in that. I am confident that our relationship is as good as it's ever been, and it's going to be better. I'm confident that I'm not going anywhere.
And I am confident that is true.
God willing, I'm not going anywhere. There's no ego there.
By choice.
Yes.
By choice.
But there's...
You wouldn't be going anywhere.
There's no ego there. It's like, I'm not conceited and thinking I'm the end-all, be-all, and you're lucky to be with me. You'd be stupid to go. Like, no, guess what? I am just irritating enough to sometimes wonder, why is she still here?
Yeah, I have my days where I wonder too.
And then I was like, man, she's getting under my skin. I chose her, so I'm staying.
Wow. Yeah, but that has to be a conscious thought a lot, huh?
No, not nearly as much as it used to be. But
we've had our rough times.
We've had our rough times. We've had our days. We've had, we're alive. We're human beings, and we've spent a good chunk of time in each other's proximity. Yeah, we've gotten on each other's nerves on more than one occasion, and that's okay. It really is okay. As long as you go, we're gonna make it better. It's okay to drive each other nuts sometimes. We're gonna make it better. Like we're talking about, rub it on the rough spots. It's like you're in close proximity. It's going to happen. But I mean, yeah, you know, I can see it's like if you were confident in yourself in that regard, it's like, you know, it's like I am this person. I can do these things. I do know these things. I am confident in my relationships here, and I'm confident in my place in my group. There's a peace in that. I think in this case, I think the opposite of the confidence would be uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, more than, you know, it's almost, they used confidence, you know, like I am confident that I have confidence that the floor is not going to fall out beneath me. I'm confident that gravity is going to hold me here.
People get stuck in that.
Yeah. It's
of all ages.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think with all the ranting I did on control, you know, it's like which control and stability are kind of synonyms in some regards. You know, I am confident, you know, this isn't going to change. It's like, I'm going to make sure it doesn't change. I'm confident. It was like, well, you can't do that. But, I am confident where it is right now and it's not likely to change. But it's like, it's the uncertainty. It's like, I don't know where I am in this relationship, or I don't know where I'm at in my job, and I don't know if I'm really being of value, or if I don't know if I'm really, truly accepted by my peers or my family or my friends. Like, yeah, that would definitely cause some mental instability, some emotional distress. And I think that one could be a very difficult one if you're dealing with self-worth issues, self-confidence issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
That one could be a very difficult one to work on.
It
especially
depends on the other elements, yeah.
Yeah,
but
because so much of that is kind of outside yourself. You know, it's like, you know, in that regard, you know, in the examples I gave, it's like I don't feel particularly confident in a relationship. Like, okay, well, you can work on your half. How do you work on the other half?
You don't.
Yeah, and that's where
you work on yourself, and then your perspective changes. It's not something you directly work on.
Sure.
It's not like you're trying to change the other person. You continue through on your path of change and growth, and do your best with that.
Mm-hmm.
And through the perspective changes, some of those elements that were very difficult are better. You know, it's easier to manage some of those things. It's not that they stop. It's not that they don't exist. It's the perspective changes.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes, I say often, sometimes, depending on the situation, the other individual involved will soften, will change to at least a more tolerable degree.
Sure. Well, this is not quite a tangent, but I think the way you work on that level of self-confidence, it's like if you're unsure of yourself, you can choose to become a better version of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Anytime.
You know, and you can get some confidence in like, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Yesterday I was a mess. Tomorrow I'll be better. And then you strive to be better. And with, again, removing ego from the equation, actually look at yourself and go, okay, I overreacted here. I was over emotional here. I was completely off base here. I can work on that. And I can work on that. And I can work on that. And I need to change my mindset when it comes to this. And I can work on my responses to this. That's, you know, I took it the way it wasn't meant to be. I can work on that and be better tomorrow. And then you can, without ego, go, okay, I goofed up yesterday. I'm better now. I'll be better tomorrow. What did I mess up today? How do I make that better? And then move forward. And in time, you become very comfortable with, it's like, yeah, I messed up. That doesn't shake who I am. That doesn't change my value. Doesn't change my desire to be a better person than I am. Like, okay, I goofed. Yep, I goofed. Sorry, moving on. Let's go. Striving forward. And you become the kind of person that attracts other people to you anyway. It's very hard to not be...
Yeah, it could work that way.
Often. I mean, it's very hard to not pull people into your circle when you're moving forward. People like getting caught up in the wake of people that are moving forward.
Yes. Some just like to be part of that movement instead of actually gaining from it.
This is true.
But yeah.
This is very much true. There's a reason why football players suddenly have, like pro NFL players suddenly have 100 buddies come out of the work. Oh, yeah, I went to school with them. It's like, yeah, and as soon as the money's gone, you'll never hear from them again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like they're hangers on. But often your growth will inspire other people's growth. And if you're in a relationship and typically, again, from what I've seen, my experience, you work on yourself to become a better version of yourself and for them. It's really hard for that not to have a positive effect.
Agreed. Yes.
Sometimes people are just really caught up in themselves and might not, but you'll still be better off, and they'll still be better off by associating with you when you're better than you were. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Confidence, I mean, that's a trickier one.
It is.
Right. Because that has to come from an inner place and knowing your identity, knowing your worth, knowing your knowing your own values and standing on them. Mm-hmm. And that even if you fail, it's okay.
Yeah. Well, and you can be, and again, this is, the last one was coping. And I think they kind of, all of this stuff we talked about kind of revolves around that to an extent. I mean,
really,
they're all very...
It starts with coping in a way. If you cope well, you're more likely to have more success with the other things.
Well, sure. But, I mean, I think they're all so interconnected anyway.
Mm-hmm, they are.
But, yeah, I understand, again, go at it with no ego. Turn the ego off for a little bit. And you can step out of yourself and look at where you're at and what you're doing and how you're responding to things. And you can see areas where it's like, I'm going back to like the addiction part of things. Like, okay, I was having a really bad day, so I went home and drank a whole bunch, and now I got a massive headache and I feel like garbage and I got to go deal with this stuff again tomorrow. That coping mechanism for a little while made you feel better. But now you're dealing with the same amount of stress and more stress, and you didn't actually make anything better. You're actually worse off than you were before. Is that a good way to cope? Well, if you got no ego, and you look back and go, well, that was stupid. That didn't actually help. And say, I'm stupid. That was stupid. Because smart people sometimes do dumb things. There's another way to cope. You might not know what it is, but there's another way to cope that makes you better and not make you feel like crap. And
it's a process to find that sometimes.
Oh, sure. And everybody's version is going to be different. I mean, some people take to exercise as a way to cope with stress. Some people take to reading or writing, art, music, playing or listening to. You've got to find, and there's so many different coping strategies for so many different things.
The appropriate outlet.
And I think that's a really good reason to find a therapist or a counselor, because they can help you see the areas where your coping mechanisms aren't necessarily as good as they could be and give you insights on what might be a better path to follow in the future. Sometimes you figure it out on your own, because you can. If you're looking, you can find things on your own. But man, there's a lot of trial and error and a lot of research and a lot of falling flat on your face before you get there. And a professional can streamline that process quite a bit.
Yes.
There's my plug for counseling.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, a huge number. It's like my go-to for a lot of things. I'm a very firm believer that, the old adage, healer, fix thyself. Yeah, I think most effective things you do are things you do for yourself. But again, back to the crutch analogy, sometimes you need that little something to help get you through the moment. But the ultimate goal is to get strong enough to where you don't need that.
And should that healer really fix thyself? No, work on thyself. And
Sure.
if that means finding somebody to help.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And again, I will never
I've taught myself techniques,
Yeah.
but I would never say that it
No.
wouldn't be beneficial for me to have.
No. And I am, again, I was like, there's no animosity, there is no malice, there is no shame. When you need help, get it. And that's a really hard thing for me. It's like I am the help that people get. I am not the one that gets the help.
That would be the common excuse.
That is my, well, that's my experience. And I have had to figure out how to pull stuff off myself so much that when I have help, I don't know how to utilize it. Don't do that. It's like there's people out there's people that, such as yourself, who are trained and licensed and limited licensed and who have the heart and the compassion and the knowledge base to help people through rough times. Admittedly, there are times at work I don't know. This is outside of my wheelhouse, and I'll pick up the phone and I'll call. I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm over here on this machine. I'm clueless. Give me a hand. Or I'm out of my depth. Or I've been staring at this thing for an hour and I need another set of eyes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, that is the smartest, healthiest, least egotistical, you got to be fairly comfortable and confident in yourself to know your limits.
Yes.
And recognize them and work within them.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time pushing them a little bit. That's why it took an hour. It's like I'm pushing my limits. Nope, still not there. Time to call in help. I need the cavalry. But all that being said,
I think you covered them well enough. I mean, they're just general. It's just talking points. It's just making sure that some of these themes are out there and
Sure.
people can hear about them and recognize that they are important. And
yes, most
if
definitely.
they feel like something is incredibly off and they need more help, that is a sign.
Well, in all honesty, if you're feeling like something's not working, it's not working.
And it's not working.
And
And it's okay to say that.
And yeah,
No
now
shame, no guilt, no judgment.
you have to be cognizant of who you say that to.
Of course.
'Cause
not everybody's safe.
Not everybody is safe, but there are good, safe people out there. And if you're having a rough time, you need to find one of them. And, and talk to them and figure out what you got to do. That, and if you don't have any safe people around you, I think that's where you should start.
I'd say that's definitely where you should start.
That is where you should start. Even if you got to pay them. It's like that is a good place to
learn
start.
more about boundaries and values, and that means having to make those kinds of significant changes in your life, then having that neutral third party to help you process that.
Yep. Sometimes you just need an ear. Sometimes you need somebody to help point you in the right direction. And there's a lot of people out there that is what they do.
Validate, reframe, pivot.
Yep.
Yep. Yes. You said it all very well. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
So, and this would then play on Mother's Day. So just want to do
Sure.
that. Happy Mother's
Yes.
Day to all mothers out there, expectant, current. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
Hope you have a good one.
Yes. Yes. I'm not sure what I'll be doing exactly, but whatever I want.
You know
'cause
what?
It's my day.
Let's be honest. I don't either.
No, I don't know.
There's some ideas out there, but nothing definitive yet.
Nothing definitive.
Because that's just how I roll, baby.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate it most of the time. It's okay. it's just a day.
Well,
but the
you ain't
thing
my
that
mother.
you're right. You're right. I just, you help me become one.
Yeah, I just make sure that they know it's like, that's your mother. You do something. You need to figure it out.
My standing thing since I've been pregnant was to not have to cook or clean.
Mm-hmm.
No clean up, nothing, no involvement. Very rarely did that ever happen.
I do what I can.
When my mother was alive and we lived near her, most of those celebrations involved her as well, and it just didn't happen. Of course, the last several years it's been us, and yes, that has been more so. Now they're adults, they're still here, but a little different. And they're home because like last year our youngest wasn't even. Oh yes, last year she was. She did end up. Last year we both graduated together. Yes. Year prior to that, her friend was living with us, so that was just a lot of tension and a lot of
that was a thing.
A lot of stuff. Year before that, our youngest stayed home while you went with our oldest to go see your mother. And I was blind. I had an eye.
You were blind.
I'd had that procedure on my eye.
Yes.
And I had trouble opening my other one, and it was just, it was a thing. And
to be,
she stayed home and took care of me.
She did. And normally that's my job. Because that's what I signed up for. But we were.
I don't think you signed up for this.
People, forget there's the better or worse, richer or poorer, sickness and in health. It's both. It's both the positive and the negative. You have no idea which one of those cards you're getting dealt at what time. So that's what I signed up for.
Yeah.
But I was contacted directly by my mom's pastor saying they wanted to do something nice. And knowing that we live down here and they live up there, if I could come up, not tell her, and surprise her.
And we made that work.
And I didn't stay any longer than I really needed to. And then I came home to make sure that you were taken care of.
And I was good.
It was.
My daughter was telling me the things on the screen.
Yep. And to be fair, as much as our youngest is kind of she's the more prickly of her. It's like we have a daughter that's a massive cuddler. She's just a big teddy bear. As much as she's a big teddy bear, our youngest is a prickly pear.
Prickly pear. That's a word.
But at the same time, she's also a heck of a mama bear. Like if you're somebody she cares about and you cause them any distress, prepare to have a bad time. She's got a mean streak a mile wide, but she's
taking care of me.
But she will go to the ends of the earth to take care of the people she cares about. Even if they don't always feel like she cares because of the prickly pear part of her personality. But
and I will say it was memorable, but not my worst Mother's Day.
Yeah, which is sad.
So my worst Mother's Day was
sad.
The one right after my mother had passed, and then I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and I believe we'd spent that one up north with my dad, and he was just all kinds of special. And that was awful.
That was not a good time.
Fun.
That was not a good time. No.
So blind over that. Yeah. But this year, I mean, we've had plenty of great ones. Don't get me wrong. And then this year, new church, I said it would be nice to attend that as a family because we've been attending our oldest daughter's church. So it would be nice to attend the one that we have chosen and then GR first. And then just, I don't know. I don't know what yet. We'll figure it out.
We will figure it out.
But chill. I always want just chill, drama-free.
As much as humanly possible.
No garbage. No, that's just always my wish. And we've done pretty well with that.
Strive.
I'm pretty sure we could pull that off this year. But
sure.
Yeah. Maybe go see your mom. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. If that's like the Saturday day trip or however that might look. But.
Yes.
Okay. So, happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Mother. Yes.
Who listens to this. Yes.
Yes. Wherever you may be.
Wherever you may be.
Well, actually, I think Mother's Day is a U.S. holiday.
Okay, wherever in the U.S. you may be.
Well, Even if you're not, Happy Mother's
But
Day.
Happy Mother's Day, yeah. You don't have to be in the U.S. to
No,
celebrate being a mom.
not at all.
So.
Yep. So.
So.
With that, I'm Fix It.
I'm Feel It.
We hope you join us in the future.
Until next week.
Y'all have a great one.